Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Plum Wild Podcast. It is August 7th. I'm Nathan Waddell, and as always, I'm joined in the booth by my best friend, Damian Kiefer.
What's up, brother?
Oh, man. Tonight's episode is presented by Dirt Demons Graphics. You can find their page on Facebook. Go give them a follow. Get yourself a wrap. It always feels good to have a nice-looking wrap whenever you're out there on the track, so hit up Dirt Demons Graphics on Facebook. Big thanks to Easton Hunter for coming on board to sponsor today's episode. We got a lot to catch up on because it's been like a month and a half since our last episode. But first, Kiefer, how we doing today?
Not doing too bad. It's Wednesday, my dudes. So, life's good. Work day actually went. It was a long work day, but it went smoothly. So
Pretty good.
we're in a good state of mind. Yeah.
You got the
Good state of mind.
goatee now? I mean, what is that, bro?
I don't know. I just had this like spark of energy the other night because like I needed to shave. And I was like asking Mackenzie, I was like, what do I need to do here? So she's like, recommended this. This is what we ended up with.
How are we feeling with the goatee? Like, a couple days in.
I still don't know how I feel about it. Like the stash was so long and so iconic. I feel like
Yeah.
it's just
Iconic.
legendary.
Shout out to Rodney Gard and Trevin Lane
Yeah.
and Grayson Young.
Yeah.
Iconic.
Iconic.
Absolutely iconic. I think you look better with a full beard, like me. There's no way I could pull off a goatee. I think I've tried it before. I just don't think I can pull it off. But yeah, we've been MIA from the pod. The podcast has been MIA for the past month and a half. I just, I don't know. I felt like there wasn't really enough to talk about for an entire episode. So we just kind of, and then other things kind of got in the way as well. So, but we do have, now that it's been a month and a half, we've got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
So let's just get the ball rolling, get started with the D Keefe Speed real life racing. How's that been going? Fill everyone in on where we're at right now.
We've definitely had some ups and downs in the last 6 weeks. I feel like we've won a race or two in the last 6 weeks. I won one at Brownstown Speedway, Brownstown Bull Ring. I don't
You
know.
called me after that one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
It was like 10. It was like 10 or 11.
Early. It was an early night.
Yeah.
It was an early night.
Yeah.
Track was super fast. Probably the best I ever was at Brownstown Bull Ring that night. Like I think we really found something that was really good there. Like, I mean, the track was faster, granted, and I don't think like I've been better in the slick there, but I've never been that good in the moisture there. Like when it's just flat out. And raced a few more nights, had some up and down luck. We've had a fast car, just kind of luck's just not always been on our side. I've kind of raced all over, and then I just sold the GRT that I've been running, and then I said was the best car ever at Brownstown.
Yeah.
I sold that Saturday.
Wait.
I no longer.
But what? You said you got some big news, right?
Yeah.
Is that what we're getting towards right now?
That's what we're working towards.
Okay. This
is
the big
time
news.
lapse. I'm just giving them everybody.
Okay.
Like the whole, just a straight rundown to the racing. Might as well just get it all kind of
lay it all
left
out
away. Then we can just like talk about it.
Yeah, that's fine.
But then it's like all out there.
Yeah,
there's nothing on the table. Like it's just
bare chested.
And so we did sell my current car that I was racing. So we currently don't have a car that is drivable, but we are redoing and finishing up our new impressive Gen 4 by D Keefe Speed. It's about to hit the ground here, hopefully Friday, on the ground, and we'll start being able to put the D Keefe body and schemes. The back is coming back in black. Everything's it'll all be back.
Is that the wrap that I seen that was being thrown around there in one of the group chats?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's gonna be shiny too.
It's gonna look so good. It's gonna
It's gonna
look
be
so
clean.
good. That
It's gonna be
iconic.
nice.
We're bringing back the black zero, black and green, and a little
It's
bit of
black,
purple.
purple.
D-Keef speed machine that you had so much success in last year as far as wraps go. And you said it's an
Yeah.
impressive by D-Keef.
And it's impressive. ID Keith will be we've been starting to help a few guys around here and be kind of branching out and looking out to see if other guys are interested. There's always, sadly, a price tag with some things at time, but we're starting to have success with it, and I'm really excited about this new car. We put a lot of time on it. Dad finished cutting the last piece out of it today, that we wanted cut,
Yep.
which is just to get everything where we like it. And
Shave some weight off.
we do, yeah, that too. But we do things differently on like our setup and stuff, and we like to chase a certain goal. And I'm really excited about it to get back because we'll be really, really close to what we were last year, and we were really good last year. And
So,
it's big money season coming up, so.
right. I'm curious though with how, like, I know it should be similar and everything, but how confident are you that you'll be able to hit the ground running with this car? Like, unloaded off the trailer, first time hitting the track, how close do you think you're going to be?
First time out, I think we should be capable of finishing top three. No,
I'm
without
talking
doubt.
I'm talking first time you hit the track
Just
on
be,
practice. Like,
I think she'll be all right.
you think
Like
it'll be,
you're
you're
gonna
going to have to
hiccup.
make your
You're gonna have
adjustments.
like a hiccup or two,
Yeah.
because like I mean we are like it's still like an impressive standard like body like frame wise like most of the stuff is still where he keeps it. Um, half of the stuff we'll say half of the stuff is where he runs it. So just getting everything to where we like it. Once we do that, I've already seen it with three other cars that we've been through and drove them, and they've all been rougher, older cars. And I've never been anything nice before, and
Yeah.
it's just, I'm really excited because everything will be nice and new. Hopefully,
Yeah.
I can keep it clean,
Keep it
but
on all three.
we got to figure it out no matter what because we got big money racing coming
Yeah.
up, and I mean, you're gonna figure it out one way or the other. But I got a lot of confidence in me and my father. We've We've been doing this for way too long. One of those moments. Dad's been doing this for almost 30 years. Just really excited to like have our own little new piece that we've been
Yeah.
working on. Put a lot of hours in it, and then the body's coming. And my body's last year was pretty tricked
It
out.
was
So
pretty wicked last year, bro.
the wicked body is coming back. It is
Oh,
coming back.
baby, it's coming back. It's coming back. That's what's up, man. That's what we're excited to see. So what's the you said Friday is the timeline hopefully to get the car on the ground. Does that mean you're racing this weekend?
No, the goal would be to race like the goal would be to like race like the 22nd or something like that. The week the 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah.
The week before the end of the month, just to get one solid test night in
Yep.
before we go up to Spoon River for the big five. They got a 2,500 and 5K to win B-Mod race, called the Plowboy Nationals.
The Plowboy.
But
Dude,
that's
imagine if Pretty Boy wins the Plowboy. Dude, does anyone ever call you Pretty Boy anymore? I don't.
not really. Mackenzie called me Pretty Boy today, actually, and I was like, "Hey, you know that used to be my nickname?" And she was like, "Just take the compliment when I give it to you. Don't make it about you. Something else."
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like a very conceited thing to say. Like whenever someone gives you a compliment, to basically throw it back and be like, "Well, people used to say that to me all the time." You know what I mean? No, but I don't think you deserve the nickname anymore. No offense, you know. The
I'm not a
goatee.
boy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The goatee, like you are not a boy anymore. You honestly,
man.
with the goatee, you look like you're pushing 30, which is what I am right now.
Really?
Yeah, we're pushing 30 over here. Pushing P and pushing 30. Okay, so that's the real life stuff. So we ran the Summer Showdown at Kokomo. I mean, that was so long ago. What is there really to recap? It was a 100 lapper at Kokomo. I thought it was actually pretty fun. I know you barely made the show, and
I made it though.
And you cost like so many people. Well, I guess technically I cost. Well, no, I guess technically fucking Dylan R. Wilson cost everybody in my stream channel points because I don't know if you were. don't know if you were in there with me, and we made the bet. We did the prediction. Who finishes higher, me or you? And I was running
I think it was
fifth.
Sykes. I think Sykes messed or who there was one
Tristan.
person that Tristan, I think he was the one
Somebody
that
somebody was like the only one that picked you, and they won big time, dude.
yeah.
Because I got wrecked by Dylan R. Wilson. Shout out to Ripper, for all the wrong reasons. And so I got wrecked out
Oh,
at the end, and you technically
I
finished higher
clutched
than
up for
me.
the chat.
Unbelievable.
I
Oh,
I
you
clutched
clutched
for the
up for the
chat.
chat. Okay,
I
okay.
did for the boys that voted for me. That was like my moment. Like
Yeah.
I was racing for the guys that voted for me.
You're racing for the little
Like
guy.
I stayed in that I stayed that whole race. I raced that whole 100 laps. I didn't pass Nathan until lap 99. So like it was a
Right. No one. You
barn
wonder
burner.
why? You want to know why?
It
Because
was a barn burner.
hey,
Okay.
that was actually I had a lot of fun in that race. I think the track was a good choice. And I thought that was a really good 100 lapper. Then we ran, or I ran
It
the
was
Spring
actually a
Madness.
pretty good
It,
race.
it was, it was. And then I ran the Spring Madness at Charlotte. I'm loving. I just want to throw this out there to Kigo, to Colton Herbert, to Sullins. I know that there's a kind of like an ongoing joke in the stream in my streams is that type 1 in the chat if this is a shit show, type 2 in the chat if this is a shit show but we love it, and type 3 in the chat if it's not a shit show, and it's always a 2. Everyone talks so much shit about these money races and how they're put on and this, that, and the other, but at the end of the day we fucking love it, and we wouldn't want it any other way. And we appreciate, and I really just wanted to give a quick shout out to everyone that puts on these money races. Kigo's really been stepping up. Herbert's really been stepping up. So I think that they deserve a little shout out for that. So Kigo's race at Charlotte, Big 100 Lapper, honestly gave me so much confidence for the Spring Fling. I know it wasn't, like, it was a pretty stacked race. It wasn't the most, obviously not as stacked as the Fling will be, but the fact that I was a top 3, top 5 car at the end of that race, and I was there, really gave me a lot of confidence, especially at a big track like Charlotte. So just I felt really good there, and that one gave me a lot of confidence going into that. On that same train of thought, you have ran a couple of races here recently. Officials, what have you, as well as those money races back a couple, last month or so. Obviously, me being a streamer and on here as much as I am, I kind of have my thoughts. I want to get both of our thoughts on the current state of dirt iRacing without harping on stuff that we've already harped on. Maybe try to give it some props. This time I feel like the past, 4, 5, 6 episodes of the podcast, we've just kind of been shitting on iRacing. So what are your current thoughts on it right now?
I raced Joey Lingren or Lingeron, how you ever say his
Linglong.
name. His Linglong? Okay.
Yeah.
I raced Joey Linglong the other day at Knoxville, Monday at 6:45.
The last official of the week.
Last official of the week. I raced it. First race I've raced probably since Kokomo, which was probably what it was.
That was like right after our last episode of the podcast, I feel like.
Okay, so that was 6 weeks ago, roughly.
Yeah.
5 weeks ago.
Get on with it.
I go in there. I went quick time. I won my heat race. The racetrack was it was decent. Like it was a pre-gens and it was good because it was Knoxville.
Yeah.
Only thing was bad is that we had 14 people on our server. That was the only thing really terrible with the server.
So the track wasn't really evolving very fast.
Not in the feature. Started on the pole. Joey got by me early. He was just really he was better than me pretty much the whole race, honestly. But once the race started going, we got about like lap 20. The track started actually changing and it got wider because I was not very good on the bottom, and I started pounding the top, and then I actually caught Joey. Then we got yellow and we started racing for the lead, throwing sliders, and we were throwing sliders there like at Knoxville, and I was like driving the balls off this thing. That's the only term I can really say. I was driving it like as hard as I possibly could on the wall, and it was actually doing something for about until like lap 40, and my wheel kind of disconnected, and
Yeah,
it,
your actual like your physical
my
wheel.
steering, my physical wheel, bro. Sadly, but I had a good race. It was flowing well. Like the racing was pretty good. If I was a little better, I think I would have really liked to enjoyed it more because I struggled just a little
Yeah.
on
Well, whenever
certain
you're doing
places
good,
just
you
for
feel
me.
it's more fun, right?
Yeah, no, I know, but like I needed a little bit more dig for me in a certain area that I was struggling. But like race wise, we were there racing. Like yeah, the bottom kind of lagged for a little when the top was good, or like the top was slow when the bottom was good. But like the track changed. You could kind of race on it, and it was getting wide. Of course, it's Knoxville, so it's gonna get wide because the
Yeah.
track's naturally wide. And then I just made some laps at Lincoln. That it's gonna be that's probably really tight. I'm gonna have to
It's
imagine
very
that's
tight.
very tight racing.
Yes.
That's all because I feel like the cars right now are just
Well,
tight.
um, the the problem I had with Knoxville and Lincoln these past two, and maybe even the past, I don't know, several weeks. It just seems like certain times there's just not really much passing. There's not much you can really do. Everybody is pretty close on speed. There's always seems to be one line dominant, but you get those rare races. Well, maybe not even that rare, but you get those races sometimes that are just a banger race, and you're like, "This is why I'm here. Like, this is why we're
Yeah,
still
like
racing."
Knoxville, that official, whenever the track was constantly changing and I was ripping the fence. Granted, I don't think I was the best car out there, but like I was
You were
racing for
having
the
fun.
lead.
Yeah, you were having
And I was
fun.
racing for the lead. It was me, Joey, and Diesel Jones there for a little bit, and we were like do like all just running the cushion, like not lifting on entry, just running as hard as we could, just all committed with each other. One of us would slide, another guy. I think I bumped Joey one time because I thought he was going to slide me, and I was trying to cut under him, and
Yeah.
like it was just
Don't feel bad.
good hard
I've been
racing.
bumping Joey a lot recently.
I should have spun him out, but I
Yeah.
would never have. I wouldn't even. I don't think my wheel would have broke if I would have spun him out. Because then you know,
You wouldn't have been pushing
I've
the
been in
car
the
so
lead.
hard. Yeah, you would have been in the
Yeah,
lead. Yep. No, it makes
I would.
total sense. So overall, the consensus is that dirt's in a pretty good state right now. Always can be improved, but I just
Yeah.
wanted to have us throw it out there that it's not horrible right now, and there's still a lot of those races where you enjoy it. It's just sometimes those negative, bad races kind of like leave a bad taste in your mouth. But
Well, and then like people just like whenever you get stuck testing, you get this tunnel vision, and people run the same lines, and it's like it gets hard to like think outside the box. Where me coming in without knowing anything was a lot better, I think, for me racing. Like I haven't watched or
you
I
didn't
didn't know
know
what
like the
line to
dominant
run.
line, right?
I was in Discord, but no one was in there with me at the time. But like I was just sitting there racing by myself. I didn't know what the line was. I was like, I'm gonna try this in the feature, see if this is any good. And I made a few changes. I wasn't a fan of my changes. I think I made the wrong change, but like I still got a race for lead. The track was changing. The top got good, which is hard. Like the top hasn't been like that in Knoxville in a while, in my opinion. When I've raced it, or like in the slider line wasn't dominant, which was good.
Could have been
It
your
wasn't.
pre-gen.
Yeah, my pre-gen was kind of goofy,
Yeah, but
but
still having
I
fun.
don't like pre-gens either. I think pre-gens are
Pre-gens
gross.
can make the racing good. But anyways, last thing I wanted to talk about before we bring on our special guest for the night. Many people saw, I mean, most everyone saw that I am now part owner of Carolina Sim Sports CSS. Those that watch the podcast and watch the streams know that I have been talking for a while about wanting to maybe start a team and be able to mentor some guys like you and Colin Bocus did for me, right? I
Yeah,
kind of wanted to pay that back, help someone else out. And I had been in the works of maybe starting my own team and was just kind of dragging my feet about it. I wasn't really sure. And then Blade Wisdom, shout out to Blade. He streams on TikTok, and I found him through there, and we kind of would have good races. And I knew he was with CSS. I kind of became familiar with CSS. They kind of caught my eye as a team that was doing really good in those middle splits, and making a name for themselves, mostly in a good way. And then Blade came to me, I think at the end of last week, or maybe at the beginning of last week, and was like, "Hey man, would you be interested in, becoming part owner of CSS?" And I was like, "Yeah." No. But I was like, let me think about it. That was really my real answer, was let me think about it. Because at first I was kind of like, nah. But then I got to thinking about it, and I was like, this could be a really good opportunity for me to take this team and, and build it into something more. Not that I'm, I've got all the answers, but I don't know. I feel like I could really help some people. And with the current, like their sort of infrastructure, I guess you could say, their team that they already have, the community that they've already got, I was like, this is a really good, almost like an easier starting point, I thought, or I think. And I got to thinking about it. I was like, yeah, you know what? I think I would be interested in it. And we kind of ironed out all the details, and we made the cuts that we had to make. And I think we've got a really solid group, and I'm excited to work with these guys and, not only make them better on the track, but also off the track. Like I was trying to tell them, like, not that they needed to hear this, but I just like to give advice whenever it's unsolicited, that it doesn't take any effort to be a good person, whether that's on the track, being someone that's fun to race around, whether it's in Discord, someone that's fun to talk to, or on social media, someone that's fun to interact with, or nice or helpful. I try to be as helpful as I can, and as nice as I can, and as clean as I can on the track. And so hopefully with my advice and, help with them on the track, maybe we can turn this team into a real powerhouse. And I'm excited, man. Really, really excited to be now part owner of CSS, even though I will say it's a little bit more, I don't know. There's a lot of responsibility with it, and I'm going to have to adjust to that because, I mean, because you were such an integral part of Apex. Like, how it is, and our special guest will know all about that as well. So on that note, are we ready to bring on our special guest?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, we will be right back. No.
Purpose Flower. I gotta say that before we leave.
I love his name. Yeah, No Purpose Flower. I love that.
Give me purpose.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh yeah. So so we'll be right back with our special guest for tonight's episode, Chris Ferguson. All right. We are back, and our special guest tonight is the owner of CFM Esports and CEO of Victory Lane Racing. He's the driver of the Spartan Transportation, K&K Trucking, Live Oak Family Dentistry, Salts number 22, Splits number 22, super late model. It's Fergie time, Chris Ferguson. Chris, welcome back to the Plum Wild Podcast.
Man, I appreciate it. I'm pumped right now. I'm looking at Kiefer's glasses, and it's just the bright lights.
Dude, we're partying over here.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, every episode, the neons are getting brighter in every one. So
wait,
I'm tickled to death about it.
The shade collection I've collected.
Wait,
with
Kiefer,
just
stand
the
up.
Podcast is unreal. Oh yeah, I also have my infamous.
Is that your Santa Claus outfit?
Yeah, it's my Santa shorts. This is my birthday Christmas. I had to dress nice. We had a super late model dress. Somebody who's actually done it.
Look at this guy though, man. I'm telling you, it's like a mullet, but the actual
goatee and everything. Yeah.
Your business up top, party down bottom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow, I shouldn't have said that on the air, huh?
No, it's fine. It's getting plum wild already. I love it. It's good to have you back, man. We had you on. Did we have you on before the frenzy?
Yeah, it was super.
No, it was
super crazy. Yeah, I was actually at Eldora, and I was like at a McDonald's parking lot.
Yep.
So I was using the Wi-Fi. I was actually in a movie theater with my fiance and her mom, and left the movie to go to the McDonald's parking lot and do the podcast. So
we're just that important, huh?
Yeah, I'm not gonna tell her that, but yeah, it was pretty important, you know.
I doubt she's watching, so that's
Hey,
fine.
she might be. She usually does, man. She tunes in whenever I'm not answering the phone call late at night, and she jumps in the Discord and sees that I'm in there. It's happened.
I think
She
Hannah's
knows she's right here, dude.
Hey, I got one outside too that told me or informed me that she re-listens to all of the podcasts. So I
Oh
had
yeah.
so I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. What did I say? She's like, well, the other day you made this I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
got
Yeah,
it.
you gotta watch your P's and Q's, man. When the boss ladies or
Yeah.
I met Nathan's other half, and for sure she is 110% in charge of his relationship.
No
I met her in
comment.
Talladega for
No
sure.
comment.
I mean,
Yep.
whenever Hannah tells me she wants to play Rocket League, I usually answer, but when Nathan tells me, I wait.
I literally texted him last night. I was like, "Yo, get on Rocket League." He didn't. He was like, blah, blah, blah. And then Hannah comes up whenever I'm on the phone with him, and he's like, "All right, I'll get on."
Oh yeah.
She runs the show, man. That's for sure.
The girls just they just know what to do to us, you know.
Speaking of which, though, you got engaged, I think, since the last time you were on the podcast, right?
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah, I did in February this year. And we're building. We bought some land actually about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we're trying to get plans together for our future and our weddings in November. And I'm slightly conflicted because I did invite some of my racing friends, but I'm super worried
I haven't
because
gotten anything in the
Howard's.
mail.
Well, I just sent them out. I
Oh.
just sent them out this week.
Okay,
but
okay.
but Howard is coming, and I just don't.
That's
Jenna is super.
worrisome.
Yeah,
That's
Jenna's super
worrisome.
worried. Yeah,
I would be too.
she's worried, and
I would be.
I honestly thought about revoking. I don't know if you can revoke an invitation.
I think all you can do is change venues.
I'm
Really?
gonna
Or
have
dates.
to. Imagine if I did that and didn't tell Howard and he showed up.
That would be.
I feel
the
like
best
Howard-
thing
That would
ever.
be the best way to troll him ever. Like,
Yes, yes.
I should have sent him an invite to the wrong address and had him go to it.
like
No,
the
dude.
opposite side of the street or something.
Howard would probably show up at the wrong address anyways, honestly. He'd show up 2 hours late and be like, I pulled up to the wrong address, pulled up to the wrong venue, walked into some random person's wedding.
Some random car.
Yeah, exactly. But to not get sidetracked on Howard, yes, we're planning a wedding. We got other business opportunities that we're working on, and she's full blown with Sweet Victory. We have how many stores you got now? 13. Yeah, 13 stores. So she's into wholesale now
That's
too.
awesome.
Yeah.
And 2 trailers, 2 merchandise trailers that go to different tracks. Sometimes we take them both to the same track at big events. Yeah, we're planning all that, and honestly, I never thought I'd be so lucky to find someone that would accept everything that I have going on and support it, whether it's iRacing, real racing, and everything else in between.
Well, that's actually a really good segue because I was gonna ask something about that. It's that where's my question at? It's just that you're so busy. I mean, like you said, you're getting married soon. Or you're planning the wedding. You're building. You know, you got something on the land that you're building. I'm assuming like a shop and a house, or maybe like a, you know, what do they call those? A shop.
Barndominiums.
Barndominiums, yeah.
Yep.
You got CFM Esports, VLR, real racing. So much on your plate, man. How do you manage all that? Because I feel like that's so much.
Yeah, it is a lot for sure. I'm very, very fortunate. Like with my real racing, I have my dad and Tap Hole, Brandon, Trey, Corey, Zach, JB, David Chapman when he can come. Just I have 2 kids that helped me recently, and Evan and Jacob. They've been helping me watch. I got a really good support system in that, and really good sponsors. A lot of people that support us, even when we're right now we're kind of in a drought. You know, we've been struggling a little bit since June, since we switched back to the Longhorn, and then we've in the iRacing business. I grinded a lot on it for 2 years. Now I'm not going to say grinded actually racing, but just setting up the business and
the
figuring out the kinks, getting the right people. doing stuff like not only Blake and Evan, but then finding the right other support builders
Right.
and the people that can fill in the gaps, like guys like Carl Kilgore.
Yep.
Carl's been here for 3 years now, and then Jacob Harberts. Y'all both know Jacob,
Yep.
and then on the VLR side, not only getting the guys revamped, but putting together a really strong team, which they already had a great team, but KT kind of backed out a little bit the last 3 or 4 years, but then we haven't really announced it, but we kind of brought Braswell along to help organize some stuff. And I think that's a great addition. Everybody runs his throwback races. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
but Cal Voda and Howard and Rocky and Tyler Burrow and, just everybody in there. I'm very, very fortunate to have a lot of good support with everything I do. So if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be near as flexible. And then also, I wouldn't probably be. I'm not going to say I'm super successful, but
Yeah.
it's
No.
all kind of where it's working. It's getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, that's really kind of what I expected. That you have such a good support group, and I see that on the iRacing side and kind of on the VLR side, because I'm kind of aware of what goes on over there, but I can tell it's just like a lot of it is because of how good of a support system that you've built. And that, like you said, with Evan and Blake, you got Colton Zimmer and John Darby and everybody that works together, and that is in all the other facets as well. But you said that you're in kind of a drought, and I wanted to hit on that a little bit. It's not a secret that this has been one of the toughest seasons of your career, at least since I've been paying attention since about 2021. What would you say is really your biggest motivator to get back on the track when you've had a season as tough as this? And Kiefer can also answer this as well, because he's had a rougher season this year than he did last year. But you go ahead first, Chris.
Just really, once you taste that success at any kind of level, start with locally. I remember when I got my first local win at Carolina and Gaffney, and I was like, man, now I want to win every time.
Yeah.
Then you get your a little bit your first super late model win. Then you get your first regional win, and then you get your first national tour win, and then you get a crown jewel win. And it's like you reach all these milestones that you never think you'd reach, and then it takes so long to figure out to get all the pieces in the places to have that success. And once you have it, it sucks because you don't enjoy it as much when you don't have it. So, just the motivation of feeling like I still have a lot more to give and to do. I really, I've always carried a chip on my shoulder that I didn't get a lot of opportunities that a lot of other people did. And when I was able to go out there and do the things I did, I was more proud than a lot of other people that, per se, went and ran a national tour for 3 or 4 years, got their butts kicked. I never did that. I went and ran regionally and for what I could afford to do, and I would go step up and run big races and miss the shows, and then I got to the point where I started making them, and then I got to the point where I started running better, and then I won a couple, and it's just that top level is so hard to reach. But if you feel like you have the skills to do it and you know the necessary steps to get there, you feel like you can duplicate it, and not even duplicate it like, I'm never going to, I just hate to say it like this. I got other priorities in my life. I don't think I'll ever, reach a spot where I go on a massive tear. I'd love to, I'd love to race full time, but at the same time, would I? I love my family, love other things. So it's like, I could go race 120 races a year. Would I have fun? I don't think I would. Now, with that being said, if I could go win a couple crown jewels a year or win one or, and win some regional races, I would be tickled to death. And, I still feel like I can do that. I just, we got to make a few little changes.
I got you. That's a good answer. Kiefer, what about you? Whenever you have these,
I get it.
the
I
week
get
after-
exactly what it's saying.
the week after a bad night, like what gets you
you just-
motivated to get back?
to go like because you had it before, like you can achieve it, and then you're there. Like you got to stay focused the whole time. Every night's a new night. Every dog has its day. Every dog has its downs. Like there's so many ups and downs in racings. You can say you have everything perfect, and as soon as you say that, something flips a switch, and then like your arm hits the ignition switch while you're leading 25.
Yep.
Like I did, like I was leading a race down in Tennessee one night. It was a 2,500 to win. My right arm hit the ignition switch, killed the car. Like it's just sometimes like you have things going with you, and sometimes you don't. And then whenever you like for us, I got into my GRT, and I wasn't as good as my impressive, but I was struggling just a little bit. And then I found it back to where we were good again. And now we're getting back in towards our impressive days, kind of back what we were doing last year to get back into fluing to what we're used to and what we know what we've had success with, what we've won with, what we've competed with. And just knowing that like you can do it. So whenever you don't do it, it kills you inside. But
It also lights a fire under your ass.
yes, because you're just like, you know what? I'm gonna prove these guys wrong, and like I'm gonna show these guys like what I can do, and like give me another moment, and then I'll show. Like that's how I am, and I got a few big races. I actually the race that's coming up at the end of the month, the Plowboy National. I choked it last year. I led, I don't know, 40 out of the 60 laps, and I lost it mentally a little bit. And I choked it. And this year you got to come back like you in my mind too. You got to think that you can win every race. And if you don't think you can win, like you got to get to that mindset that you have to get that mindset like I can win no matter what. Even if you know you can't, you always have to have the winning mentality at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Like down in East Bay, like the first 3 days we were down there, Monday through Wednesday, my mental state was at an all-time low because like we were terrible. We couldn't compete. We were no good. Then we changed everything on the race car. I mean, we worked our tails off. And then Thursday night, we ran like 7th or 8th with the best modified guys in the country. With like my beam, like that was the biggest thing ever to me. Like I just won the Daytona 500. I ran like 7th or 8th. And that and it just makes little steps. And like now, like the next step for me would be like to win one of those 5Ks, the 10K, one of those big regional races like Chris is talking about. Like that's my next step. I feel like in the modified series, stuff like that. Like I want to go win some more big A mod races, not just a local A mod race, and just prove yourself and just keep building and having that success and the racing stuff. It's a lot of time and it's hard, but
Having
it's
some of
worth
that
it.
too. Yeah.
Having that what?
It's success.
That's not what you said the first time.
You got to make sweet love to these race cars. You don't think they go
Yes,
fast without
yes.
anything.
Oh, that was a perfect little slip up. Yeah, that's another good answer though. I mean, it's all about the confidence and just kind of just never quitting. You know, you've tasted that little bit of success before. I mean, like with me in the Pro Series, like to the 2 years that I've ran it, I haven't ran good, but like, you know, I've been there before. Now I know I can do it again. I want to get back there. Like it didn't, it did like, it was a blow to like the ego, and like it sucked to not have that success that I wanted, but like it just lit a fire under my ass to get back there again. So I get
Like,
it completely, you know.
And like Chris has won like at Eldora. He hasn't won the crown jewels yet, but you've won at Eldora, and like just doing that is like that's one of the highest highs that you could possibly get. At the end of the day, I don't care about you. It beats that.
How do you
There's
know?
no way.
Yeah.
There's no drug
never
or
done either,
anything in the
honestly.
system. Because like I've been at Eldora a few times throughout my life. I've been around racing my whole life as a kid and as now. And even whenever Chris won one of the prelims that night, like before the feature started, I get chills and like I was like I could cry. Like it's just something about that place. Eldora
It takes it out of you. It's so crazy.
like for him to win it, like that's like one of the highest highs. And then he's been he's struggled so far a little bit this year, but like to get back to it, you got to have a big fire, and that's what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have a lot of good guys around you.
On the contrary, a little bit on the contrary, how cool is it to see cousin Carson, man, having a very good season and landing the big ride with Paler Motorsports? I mean, I think he was already in that ride, but it's kind of like
Yes.
official full time now.
Yep.
The solo
Yeah,
car, like how cool is that?
it's awesome. I'm tickled to death for him. Like I've known he was like going to be great for a long time, and but I always knew that he was going to have the same struggles that I did. Excuse me, he didn't he didn't have the money to go out and compete like a lot of people do. He was, in the same boat that I was in for so long. And even when he first got into late models, back in 15 or something like that, or he run 525s, and then he kind of got away from it because they didn't really have the money to race, so he went and ran legend cars. He was working for legend car teams like Dennis Lambert and Tim Latiga, and also driving them and winning everything you could win. But the same thing on asphalt. If you don't have millions of dollars, you're not going to take that next step. So he was kind of really, in my opinion, getting beat down, even though he was successful. He was seeing all these guys that he grew up with kicking their butts, and now they were racing NASCAR. And it's like that's very disheartening for any
Yeah.
race car driver.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
honestly, there's a part of me that didn't really. It's kind of like Davenport. I don't really think he ever intended to race dirt and dirt for a living, but I'm glad it all worked out because truthfully, I think he's going to get a lot more fulfillment for going out there competing against, in my opinion. And I love my friends that race NASCAR, but in my opinion, some of the dirt guys are the baddest guys in the world. Like,
Yeah.
I could put them up
Bloomer?
there. That's what I'm saying. And I mean,
Yeah.
Davenport, just, Ricky Thornton
RTJ,
right now.
Bobby
Yeah, it's like
Pierce.
Yeah.
Bobby
Pierce
Pierce
right
and,
now. Yeah.
if Carson can go outrun those guys, what's not more impressive? I mean, what's more impressive than doing that? Like, I mean, he could go outrun, like William Byron's one of mine and his friends, and he could go outrun William at a legend car race, or let's just say in an Xfinity race. If he wouldn't outrun him, is that really more impressive than outrunning Bobby Pierce at Fairbury or Davenport at
No,
Eldora? It's not.
No,
not in
you
my
So,
beat Bobby
opinion.
Pierce on a cushion,
and
like you're
and
somebody.
and honestly, and I put it in perspective of really what I see as far as skill and knowledge and pure, just making a race car go around the racetrack. When he's racing them guys and outrunning them, or when he does, and if he already has, and that's way more fulfilling when you've outrun them guys because they got great cars too.
Yeah.
And I think that he got the opportunity and he's making the best out of it. He's finally kind of coming into his own. He's ran great at some big races, and they're not like big runs that's going to like completely blow your mind. But when you run 8th or 10th at a Crown Jewel, like at Huset's, where he ran in the top 10 all 3 nights, I watched every night, and it's the track he's never been to, and
Yeah.
it's like that 8th or 10th or 7th or 4th is just as good as winning any regional race, and it's something that's really hard to do as far as not even being a full. He's a rookie, but
Yeah.
he's
To
not
put in
really.
perspective.
Yeah, it's just like, and I'm thankful that Donald Bratcher gave him a chance, and I think that he's gonna win a lot of races. Like I've told him this, he don't believe me, but he's gonna win more races than I ever thought about.
So one thing I was wondering about, the news about RTJ, the whole deal with RTJ came out, and it kind of put a lot of people, or it made a lot of people think, and especially like someone like you that's in the whole business of like, well, nobody's safe if someone like RTJ can lose his
Yeah.
ride. Does that make you a little, without trying to throw Paylor under the bus at all, does it make you kind of worried for someone like Carson who's having to rely on that, being on a team like that? Does it make you worry for him at all?
I mean, I would say not worry so much. I mean, there's positive and negatives to everything. The way Carson's doing it, he's luckily getting to race at someone else's expense.
Right.
Where my entire racing career, I've had to get sponsors, and my dad's had to break his back to do it. And at the end of the day, if I miss the show, my dad still loves me. I think he's still going to put me in a race car, and I have that security there. However, it has limited me
Right.
You know, I've ran at the most I've ever ran 50 races a year, if that. And there's been times where I've ran like this year. I mean, I've ran maybe 30 races, if that. So there's positives and negatives. It does make you worry a little bit because it can happen, and that's part of the reason why even a couple years ago and even in the recent history, I've turned down some rides because I always knew uh that's always an option, and that's always a possibility of happening.
Right.
Getting fired for no
Yeah.
reason because the
It
next
happens
guy's
every day.
I know, and it's like if I can raise money and get sponsors and get help and support my dad and then help build our team to where it's at. And it's not by no means is it massive. It's y'all have seen the garage. I ain't gotta tell y'all. I mean, me and Kiefer stay on the phone for 2 hours talking about it one night.
I
It's
get
not
it. We're in the same boat kind of deal. Just you got to
but
scratch and claw to get everything you can get, and then
yeah,
but
and
but like it's more.
I'd
I
rather do
like
it that way.
I
I do
like
too.
it.
And
It's me and my dad. We're learning together.
exactly.
He
And
did it before me, and like now we're like achieving all of our dreams together in a way. And
yeah,
it's a slow process to get there, and we've learned so much together in like 2 years. Because I think 3 years, yeah, 2.5 years ago was my first ever win. Or yeah, 2 years. He actually shared today. It was 2 years ago was our win. We won both together in Arkansas, and like just like how far we've came in like 2 years, just knowledge and together, and actually being able to work together, and just the whole process of like being able to do it like with your family and be able to come home. And
you don't get fired.
now, I mean, there's nights where
You
I
can't get
think
fired. Yeah, I get
no,
fired too, but yeah, they're not gonna fire you from out of their life.
no, like I work with my dad, and we run a business together, and now I'm pretty much 100% self-sufficient in the business, and he trusts me in the race car, and I trust him in work, and he trusts me at work. So it's a trust thing, and you have to work with each other. But the family thing, I get why you guys do what you do, and like it's respectable in my opinion because it's a family deal. It's a like that's what
Yeah.
I think racing is about. It's about making the memories. It's not necessarily about winning the races. Because, like, looking back now, like, some of the races I do remember, but the things I remember most are, like, the silly things that we did at the racetrack with my buddies that were there, or, like, my
Mhm.
dad slept. When we were headed to East Bay, we didn't have a hotel room. My dad had to put an air mattress on top of the tires in the trailer to sleep. And I was sleeping up on a bunk, like, scraped to the top, like, just stuff you had to do to, like, we just make it happen. And,
Yeah,
like,
you make it happen.
It's
and I'm like
fulfilling that
getting,
way.
or even getting a flat tire at 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, yeah, it sucks, but like now you have something to talk about for
Yeah.
18 years that you won't ever.
Maybe
And
you got the flat like as soon as you left 411, right? That
no,
whenever I came to
I
watch you
blew
at
up a,
full 411, right?
I blew up a truck.
Oh, that's
My
what it was.
truck
You blew up the
motor,
truck.
Oh yeah, that's another story.
dude. That's still like we still talk about that all the time. Like it was a fun time. I mean, we ran 10th, but like it was a good weekend. I mean, yeah, we lost some money and bad things happened, but it was fun. Like
Right.
there's a lot of good memories with it, and that's what I enjoy about the racing is you got to have fun with it, and that's what keeps my fire going too is
Yep.
just making sure it's fun and not making a job because like beginning of this year when we were struggling and destroyed two cars. um I had to take some time off just to remind myself like this is for fun
Yeah.
for us. Like this is not my full-time job. I do not need to win every race like I think I do because last year I had a really good year and I won about every race. I had a lucky year. Like things just lined out like we said. And like this year, my right arm hit it, and then it just went shut off one night, and one night we got a flat, and one night I had a shock just blow out on me, just random stuff. It just is what it is. But the biggest thing was always just remember to have fun with it. Even and like those guys
Even
are
the
worried that
downs.
they could, even if they could lose the ride, just at the time they just like Carson's deal. Have fun with it, dude. Enjoy it. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
And like I'm at like it would probably be better to just get burned off, kind of like how Thornton did, in a way. That way, it's just a clean tear, it's done.
Yeah.
Because I feel like
Rip the
whenever they do
Band-Aid
it the
off.
other way, Well, when they do it the other
when everybody's talking behind the back, and then you're hearing
yeah.
this guy's going there, he's going to get fired.
Yeah, no,
And
like I don't. I'd
nah.
rather just have the Band-Aid ripped off. Like I know it sucks. Like it was a bad deal for Ricky and them, but
it panned out.
it panned out. Like at the end of the day, in the racing world, like if you're gonna make it, like you're gonna make it happen no matter what it takes. So it's gonna happen. That's just how us racers are. I found that out. Like we're crazy. We're worse than drug addicts.
Oh,
That's why, like, well, even like your show,
racing is the worst drug in the world.
yeah, like you winning the show, like show me was good, but like to me, like if I ever won at Eldora, like that,
Yeah, it's
still
wicked. Yeah, it is wicked.
I got
That's just
I
crazy
got
feeling.
one little quick hitter question for you. How so you went from the Team Zero to the Longhorn? What get to in layman's terms, to like an outsider perspective, someone who's never driven a real dirt late model, how did the Team Zero chassis feel and drive compared to the Longhorn or vice versa?
It's like racing a late model to a modified. It's just it's so much different. Everything is just completely different. The theories behind the way the car's built, the actual material, the structure of the car, um, you know, just so many things go into building Scott's cars, and the same thing with Longhorns. And when you run one like I did for 5 years, and you had success, and you know the things that make you successful in those cars, and then you have a car that's built. And when I say nothing is the same, the shocks can't even be remotely close. You know, the low numbers are, let's see, they're 400 to, on the 4-inch side, 800 pounds different. I mean,
That's
this is
huge. That's
that's
huge.
not even
That's not even the
close.
same
It's not even,
ballpark.
no, and it's and everything is just so different that my window of success was so much lower because I was I am dedicated, like I was dedicated to Fox Shocks and all these people that I built with my program with the
Right.
Bloomquist cars. You know, if you, I mean, I'm not saying there's definitely people that are successful with the Fox stuff with the Longhorn, but I could have took the easier route, you know, and went Bilstein. I mean, I'm sure y'all seen every Longhorn in the country on
Just
a
about every
Bilstein.
single one.
But we didn't want to do that, and I'd really, you know, I can say it out loud because I really do like Longhorn. I like everything about them, but I didn't want to leave Bloomquist. You know, you just can't get a car, and and that was, you know, part of the deal. It was like you can't get a car, so you got to go make something else happen. And I have that car that I won March Madness with last year, and we had success at Talladega, and we ran good at Talladega till we broke, and good at Bulls Gap. So we thought we'd pick right back up, and we just didn't. Tires
Yeah.
have changed.
The racing is always evolving in
It is.
ways, certain ways, and like things are just a little different than they used to be. And you're right, like all these cars are just a little different.
Mhm.
And how you build these cars is super important. And I've always admired Scott, and my father and I have always like tried to mock what Scott does in our heads in a ways.
And on the
Kinda-
car. And the wrap.
yeah, I've just always been a fanboy of Scott. I'll say it. I'm not afraid to admit it. I think he's the GOAT.
I don't care. I'll
Pretty
say
sure
it.
every dirt fan at some point was a fan of that yin yang.
Yeah,
whether
now
they
they
want to
say
admit
they
it or
hate him.
not.
Now they say they hate him, but
Yep.
everyone at one point
At one point,
had like
Before I knew anything about national touring late model guys, like whenever I was a
You knew.
kid, I knew who Scott Bloomquist was. Like
Yeah.
he just transcended everything. So
the long hair, the aliens, just
everything.
the crazy stuff the stories I've heard of him and how he built his cars and like his I've heard his fuel cell story.
I told you about that.
At how his
The back of the
Yeah.
Jeep. Yeah.
he's crazy.
With the
Dude.
Lexan, they're trying to
Yeah.
get his buddy to go out there and throw running 7,500 miles an hour in a Jeep, and they're taking corners trying to see what the fuel does inside the fuel cell.
Yeah.
He's about to flip a Jeep in a field.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you'd be tickled because I have something really up my sleeve on this impressive because it's been a long time I've had this fuel cell. A long time. Dad got one built probably about 12, 13 years ago. The old I need to send you a
Oh
picture.
yeah.
Diamond kind of looking deal. It's goofy.
Yep.
It just what his thinkings and how he designed things, and him and Rayburn were very similar on stuff.
Mhm.
I would believe, and just how those two thought about the racing, just their theories and how their thinkings, like Scott's thinking behind the race car, how it works, how it was driving, how to keep it consistent. And his knowledge is what really intrigues me the most. It's just how smart he was. Like,
I
you
think he
got to
just has such
respect him. Like,
a
he knew
deep
what he was doing.
understanding of it, of what a race car is and what it's trying to
Yeah,
do and what
everything
you need to
about it.
try to make it do.
Yep.
I got two more real life racing questions before we move into iRacing. First one, we're a little under, I think just 1 day. What am I trying to say? We got less than a month before the World 100. How are you feeling going in? Are you confident? Are you you
No, I'm
excited?
at an all-time low. But the good thing about Eldora is, we got some stuff up our sleeve that we can't really say yet, but we're working on it. And when I go to Eldora or Port Royal, or even if it would have been Florence this week, when I go and I feel like I'm unloading with something I know, I feel like I can go win. I mean, I haven't won at Florence, but damn, I've been close. I've ran great there in the North South 2 or 3
A lot of
times.
top threes. A lot of
It's like, every time I go there or Port Royal, I mean, Port Royal last year or 2 years ago, last year I crashed, but I did run like fifth one night from pretty far back. And but when I go to these places and I feel like I know what I need and I'm on what I need when I go there, I feel like I can win. Like, it doesn't matter if I've raced or not. Like when I unloaded Eldora, even when I was there in June with the Longhorn, like that first heat race, I think I finished second to Max Player, and I run them down late in the heat race, and I was like, damn, this feels like what I want.
Yeah.
And then I didn't recapture that feeling the rest of the weekend, so I missed the show or whatever. And but when I go there in September, I'm like 1,000%. I feel like I'm gonna.
You have to.
I have a chance. I have a chance if I make that main event. I feel like I can win a prelim because I have before. And last year I ran second at the world in my prelim on Friday, and then I led some laps in the world, and I think I finished sixth or eighth. And I feel like I can go back and contend for a win. Like, it doesn't matter as long as I'm good.
Same as
sure.
what we were talking about before. Like, it doesn't matter what has happened this year, how this year has went. You just have that confidence because you've had that success there before.
Yeah,
I like
and
that.
I typically I like my runs and the dreams and the worlds. I've led laps. At this point I led laps last year. I've came from 18th to 4th, 16th or 12th to 3rd. Finished 5th in the stream and the invitational race, and I've ran 6th in the world, 7th in the world. I've been floating around. Really, if I really get it right, maybe we can win. So I feel like, we're in the ballpark. We just gotta seal the deal.
Somebody's just got to beat that 49 card.
He's so good there. That's what I tell everybody. He's tough.
Eldora, he is that
He
card.
turned on, man.
It reminds
Like,
me of the old Bloomer cars.
just give me one, man. He can win the he can
I
win the
know.
other 5.
Yeah,
Just want one.
kidding.
I take the dream or the world.
Just one of them crown jewels there.
I don't even care.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't either.
No preference. Yeah, I don't
no
care either.
preference.
Just I would just love to make a lap there. But speaking of making a lap,
I got to, and I creamed my pants. First lap of qualifying, 100%. That's what happens when you race at Eldora. This thing, your pants just stands up, and you just stand on the gas. And you're just like, oh,
yeah.
Oh man. So I got one question that I'd like all of us to answer. I came up with this just today. I don't know. It might not be a good question. I don't know. We'll see. If you could do a one lap, one beer like Derek Kessinger does with a driver of your choice, who would it be and why? And it can be, I guess we could say dead or alive, racing or not racing. Any driver who would it be? Of course, it's got to be dirt driver. You can't say Dale Senior. But who would it be? Kiefer, you can go first this time.
Oh no. Honestly, right now, I would like to talk. It wouldn't even be a. He's not a current driver. I would just like to have one with Bob Pierce.
Great.
He's seen it all in a way at this time in his life. Like he's done a lot. He's won races. His son's won almost about everything now. He's still looking for a few more crown jewels to add to his resume, but Bob, he's been around a long time, and just he's a very smart individual. And how he thought, I've talked with him before, and we used to have a Pierce car. My dad raced late models for a little bit, and I've hung out with him and Bobby for a little bit there for like a year, and just learning from them and how they do things and how Bob thinks about the race cars and about lines and how they talk to each other. He's a very smart individual. I think he would have a really good conversation.
I like that answer. That's a really good one that I didn't even think of. Chris, what about you?
I would probably have to I don't think he drank, so he'd probably have like one lap and a coffee. But he passed away last year, but Freddie Smith.
Yeah.
Freddie accomplished it all. 5-time dirt track world champion, won the first Dream, won, all these races. And he's the only one that I know that his class stood out more than his accomplishments. Like someone that was called the Southern Gentleman, and the legacy he left behind for the way he treated people off the racetrack was more important than what he did on the racetrack, regardless of him winning all them races. It's like, how do you win all them races and not carry some kind of arrogance? I hate to say that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
How do you do what he did and still be considered one of the nicest drivers, and everybody respected him, and he was fierce on the track, clearly, but he was the same guy that everyone respected and looked up to, and he was the hero of so many people, including myself. And I'd just love to talk to him one more time.
Yeah.
That's a really
Respect
good
is a big thing, and not a lot of people have respect nowadays, and especially in racing. It's a very small, prideful thing whenever you have it.
Yep. I like that. My answer is just Bloomer. I mean, I was hoping that neither of y'all picked Bloomer, but Bloomer is my pick. I mean, what more needs to be said about that? I'd love to pick his brain about aliens and, just get whatever I could out of him as far as stories, because I know he's chock full of them. So that's my answer. Did you like that? Was that a good question? Was that a good one? Yes or no?
Oh yeah,
for
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm glad we're basic. That helped me
it's
out.
awesome.
I like to throw in those simple questions every once in a while.
I do.
So moving on to the iRacing stuff, VLR, man, we got the Spring Fling dates and purse announced recently. So is there any sort of information that you can give us at all about the track? And
let me check the chat and see if there's been any updates.
Drum roll.
No, there's not been no updates.
I couldn't read it anyways. All right, well then in that case,
I found something. Hold on.
Oh boy,
looks
this
like,
is probably
honestly, it looks like looks like Weaver Valley though.
Oh, that shithole.
Oh,
Oh no,
I know, dude.
I can't go to Weaver Valley anymore. They banned me.
I don't want to race there either. It's the worst track on the sim.
It's so wet.
Yeah.
I tear my stuff. I gotta go through the damn wash bay 3 times.
Yep. Yeah. It's. I hate the people that promote it and everything.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
Dude,
what track do you actually think it'll be at?
Honestly,
track you want and track you expect.
Everyone's going to come to expect Charlotte. That's it's just always the best races. I want it, honestly, because of how the warm-up race went last year for either the Frenzy or the Fling, but the Port Royal warm-up race was sweet.
That was for the Fling. That was actually a really good race.
Yeah, that was a great race. No one wants to see it, and that's why I kind of want to see it there. And by no means does that mean it's going to happen. It's not my decision. not everyone knows like 99% of the VLR stuff is not my decision. So as much as I want it to be, it's not going to happen. So it's wherever. I would keep an eye out. You know, you see Calvoda putting up races here soon, then you know he's
searching.
he's searching and he's debating on what
Yeah,
we
he's
can do.
he's
and,
gathering his information.
Yeah, and
getting
I'm
close to making his decision.
I'm super excited. You know, I kind of want to reiterate what you said. We announced the purse again. It's a $18,000 purse again. You know, entry fee money ain't but like 8,000,
It
eight or
makes me
nine.
dust off my computer. Let's just
So
say that.
that's $10,000 that these guys go after every year just to give to racers. And I know people, hey, oh, you can't beat your chest because you act like you're giving back. Guess what? These guys are giving back. No one else is
Yeah.
going out getting 10
Yeah.
grand.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pro Series does, but besides that, go out. We got the Schaefer's deal again.
Yeah.
Cruz Pedregon's going to support it, and the other ones are going to be announced here soon. And it's just so cool that we
Big
are
shout
able
out
to
to
do
everyone
this.
that does that. I mean,
Oh
like
my gosh,
to support this such a really a small community, but very passionate community, and to kind of show that same amount of passion from someone as big as Schaefer Zoll, Cruz Pedregon,
know.
all these sponsors that come in and support it. It really, to me at least, it's not lost on me. You know how awesome that is. So who do you? Don't be biased here. All right, or be biased. I don't care. Who do you think is gonna win the spring fling?
Oh, I could answer this one for you.
Man, it's hard to say. There's, in my opinion, there's three people that stick out. Blake, Evan, and Rumsey. Rumsey somehow another he dials it up in the late models, right? That's just natural right reactions. I love Hauser. Like I think he puts on the show. We had our top 5 moments last year. I put together that list, and Hauser made 4 of the 5.
Yeah,
And I think if Dylan ever just locks it in, like
Locks
none,
it in. All
none,
100 laps.
none of the riffraff, just race people like them guys have raced, like to win the race. Like he's done it, and he's won the big ones, but it's like he's always there. It's just like he gets involved in, and like last year was crazy. That fall frenzy race was wild.
Oh
I mean,
my
it was
God.
you couldn't have, Evan did
call
it
and
all he
everything.
could, and it was just the craziest thing ever. And the spring fling, the same thing. All the drama with Jordan, the lap cars, the blocking, the block gate.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like you never know who's going to win. You know who's going to be in the hunt, but
Right.
you
Hell,
never
I
know
was in
who's going to be
6th in that
surprising.
race.
That's what
I
I'm saying. Like you never know who's going to be in the hunt. That's what I love about the spring fling. You occasionally get
somebody that's gonna shine.
somebody
Because it's just the biggest race of the year. Like
it is.
And like the first time, I'll toot my own horn, I guess. First time I ran the fling, I qualified second quick, and I won a heat.
That.
And I think I either won the heat race or Johnny Rugg beat me, one of the two. But like that was when I first came.
Lights
Like,
out,
that was my
dude.
big moment. And then after that, that's kind of what set my tone for like wanting to do more in the sim. And like that, it was the fling that started it all for me in a way. If I wouldn't have had the fling and the good run I had in the fling, I don't think I'm in iRacing near as much or do as much as I did.
So you said Blake, Evan, Rumsey?
I think, I don't know, man. It's hard to say because.
Well, you
the
could give like a
longest time-
top 3 or top 5. That's
I got so used to picking Evan there for a while, and it's because Blake was in the streets driving the armor truck,
Right.
and he wasn't actually on the sim.
He's playing GTA
So now
IRL.
Yeah, I know that now he's actually back in the sim, so it's like Blake could be the person, but Evan's still an alien.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's other guys that are stupid fast now. Like Barbara's always Gordon Casey, Chase Barber, Logan Rumsey, Connor New, Kendall. I mean, we forgot Kendall Tucker.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nathan Waddell.
you got Nathan Waddell,
Hayden Cardwell.
Hayden Cardwell.
You think
I mean,
Hayden
if Hayden comes back,
if Hayden, dude, I think Hayden.
He's got. I think he's just too. He's in real racing now, and he's trying to make his name. And I don't think he's really. I'd love to see him run it. He definitely is one of those guys that can step. Look what he did to the Gobbler last year. He led every lap. He smoked the show.
Yeah.
He killed him. So
that dude's nuts. Yeah, he's just nuts.
I would love to see
I would like to see
somebody
Hauser
random.
win it. Honestly,
You know,
Honestly,
just
it wouldn't be surprising.
you know what I would love to see personally? Just like I know that I now drive for Evan and Blake, or you and Evan and Blake are the builders and all that. But for once, I would just like to see Evan and Blake not start up front in one of these big VLR
I
races.
know,
They always
yeah,
find a way to
yeah.
start up front.
Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with, their
Yeah.
just their ability to just perform whenever it matters and do well in the prelim. And the prelim sets the stage. They got 40 laps in the prelim to get up towards the front and that to start up front. But like, it would be interesting to see those two big names and like Dylan Hauser start at the back of the.
We'd love to see
main
like
event.
a 17th place starting,
Right,
a 15th
right.
as well.
Because they're going to be up there at the end anyways.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, you know
fourth
who's
at Kokomo.
You know who's a guy that's like who honestly can put it together too, and he's done it, and it's Dylan Yeager.
Damn it! I was going to try to guess. I wouldn't have guessed that. Though.
Yeah,
Yeager.
Yeah, Yeager. I mean, he's won Pro Series races in both, supers and sprint cars.
Yeah,
And a guy.
And he won, and a gobbler. Yeah,
Yep.
and VLR races. Like he's another guy when he's on, he's on too. So I mean, there's so many.
That's I was about to say. That's the beauty of it. That there's so many, and we're so tight. Like anybody can have their day and
like
show up.
Freaking Barrett was really. I mean, Barrett Bishop was one of the. I mean, in that Pro Series, it's like he would start 15th and finish. He finished third or fourth, or second. And it's like there's just so many people that can step up, and that's what makes it fun.
So Jordan Casey's in the chat. He said, "Who's the sleeper pick? Who's your sleeper pick? Like, not to sound as disrespectful, but like, who is someone that's kind of off the radar that you would pick?"
Oh man, that's off the radar right now.
But has to like at the same time, you have to be good enough to make the freaking fling.
I mean, James Edens.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a sleeper pick for me.
Yeah.
A dark horse that I would love to get the comments going on this one, but a kid that actually grinds and man, it's like weird. I watch him sometimes, and he's at Blake and Evans level, and then I watch him next time, and I'm racing for 10th with him in an official, and that's Hayden Tullison. Like, Hayden is sometimes really fast. Big H, he's rough and tumble, man. It's like when Toter left the team, Hayden filled right in for him. You know what I mean? Rough and tumble, and someone like that could be like a dark horse or a sleeper. But I think Edens, guys like him and JD Brown, that's been in those moments in these races, they could be the ones that would win.
But on the quiet side, they're not like
No.
They're not.
Yeah, they're not running. They're not grinding officials like us losers.
I got one.
Like me the other night.
I got somebody that could lead laps. I don't know about potentially win it, but he could lead laps. That Drew Johnson.
Yeah, Drew Johnson and Ethan Johnson. Both of them guys, they can start up front and lead.
Ethan, yeah. I hope my my physical reaction there wasn't.
I don't know.
Across as weird, but whenever he said Drew Jonkman, I hope that didn't like come across. As
you know what you get with them. You know what I mean? That's the thing. Like they're they're fast.
Same deal as always. Like everyone can have their day, and like you
just
gotta.
Was fast in that Kokomo. Like he qualified like
in the Herbert race, the Summer Showdown. Yeah, I agree.
Colton Herbert's won a 1,000-win race.
Jaden Anderson has stepped it up recently, and like you said, Ethan Johnson. There's a lot of new names that I'm excited to see, because I've been I feel like at my current level, I've been at about this level for a couple of years now. But even whenever it comes to these big money races, like it's tough, right? And so like these guys that are coming up, kind of newer names, like I want to know how they do whenever the pressure is really on in like the spring fling. It's going to be interesting to see. So, all right. Well, about the money races, the spring fling is in August, right? Like, why we're doing the spring fling in August? So like that leads me to my last question. Really, is there going to be a birthday bash, and is there going to be a fall frenzy? Like,
yeah. I think we're going to really just pack everything into one. We really talked about doing a VLR Pro Series too, and then that still may be in the cards. I think it would be super cool if we locked in the top 10 from the spring fling into the Pro Series and had pro quals for everybody else for the other 20 to 30 spots, and then all of a sudden you have a we would shorten it. We wouldn't have 10 weeks. We'd have a 6-week Pro Series, VLR Pro Series, and do some stuff like that. And we're at a little bit of a strange place, figuring some stuff out. But you know, my passion for sim racing is always going to be there, and I think Calvoda and Howard, and if we, Rocky can come back around and hang out a little bit more, and the same thing with KT. Like KT comes in, does hero cards, and it's like, all right, guys, like if we can, let's pick 6 to 8 weekends out of it, out the year, and do some big stuff and some cool stuff, and keep growing it, then it'll be. But I also kind of like everything being, maybe everything starts up in fall, and then we go into the winter season, because it's like spring is real racing season. It's hard to do it.
The summer's so
But
wide open up here.
it makes it so bare early in the year. Like
Yeah,
for me, like for content, like these big money races, a lot of people have been tuning in whenever I do the big money races and stream them. Like I was really looking forward to the spring fling actually being in the spring this year, like have one of them nice big
it's
streams.
rough.
And
It's rough. We want to get in a little bit more of a better rhythm.
yeah.
And not only that, but like, Tommy, our announcer, Tommy Rowe, does real racing, and it's like he does a lot of the broadcast and announcing, so then you're kind of at the mercy of him, his schedule, and I'm not making, like, he's not the reason why we hadn't done it. It's just, everybody's got a lot going on. Calvoda had a baby. Calvoda had a baby, I mean,
that's big. That's big.
I don't think he is big.
A little mini blimp.
Yeah.
But yeah, mini blimp. But
Oh, man.
Calvoda is very big. So I don't, I mean, it's big for him. And I think he had his kid in around spring, so it worked out that we pushed back, and we were supposed to only push back to June and then July, and it just, it fell in August. So, but
And I
you got to have the
understand
time.
it's tough. There's so much stuff that has to go on behind the scenes that has to line up, and everybody's got to prepare for it. And like you said, go out and get the sponsors and all. I know it's not easy. I was just kind of, it's the fact that it was pushed back so far made me kind of curious and a little worried that there's not going to be these other big races.
It does worry you, because truthfully, besides Rocky, I know there's other people that put on money races, and we're super thankful for them. Like, everybody always thinks, VLR, Calvoda does, thinks the shit don't stink, and Howard and everybody thinks that, but we love like supporting Wotel. We love supporting Eddie Fairness.
Yeah.
And all their stuff. And I think I ran one. I raced with Kiefer. I ran one of those
Eldora.
races.
You
That's
beat
right.
me. You beat
And
me.
no
in the
one
heat
believed
race.
it, bro. No one believed it. I was shaking in my boots.
I was driving the nuts off of it too behind you. I was not lifted.
But the two tracks that I'm good at on iRacing is Charlotte and Eldora.
Eldora.
And so, but yeah, we support those guys, and we like to see them. I would love to see, like Wotel step up and do a bigger money race once. Like, hey, let's do a 1,500 to win, guys.
Yeah.
Because honestly, we need everybody to really make this work. Not just us. Yeah, we put on the big ones, and we're the, in my opinion, we clearly Howard's built, Howard and KT and Rocky and Calvoda have built an empire as far as big money races. So, we have to honor that and keep it going, and as long as we can, and even, if like for me, if I get too busy and I can't do it, then maybe I'll get someone else, like, I'm not saying sell out or anything, but get Braswell or somebody else in the similar position to step up and help out where I can't, or maybe you, Nathan. Hell, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know.
How much
just
you
one
pay
of
me,
those
man.
things. Yeah.
Everything's got a price tag.
Everything's got a. So, it did worry me a little bit that it got pushed back this far, but it was, getting all the sponsors and everything else that was going on behind the scenes. We really just, we had to make it work for everybody,
Yeah, I'm super excited for. I'm so glad that I was worried it wasn't going to happen, but I'm super glad that it's announced and everything's kind of like ironed out.
Back
and we've
to
got
normal.
dates and
I'll be back
because I feel
grinding
like
as soon as the track's announced.
I feel like this is like the best I've felt going into a spring fling. 2022, I felt okay. I was really hitting a groove, but I wasn't quite 100% there. And then 2023, like it was right after the new build. I wasn't quite comfortable on it yet. But this year, I feel like this is like going to be my best shot to just even make the race because I haven't made the fling before. So
No, you got it. It's easy.
I think I do. I think I do. But like, I'm just excited to like have another opportunity at it.
Listen, it's okay for you to run into your viewers, okay? Like I know I watch you sometimes, and sometimes you're too nice on the racetrack.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie.
I used to yell
unless
at
I'm
him
around
for it.
Augustine.
Yeah. Oh, look at him in the look at him in the camera and let him know.
Augustine, don't get around me on the track. He'll probably out-qualify me. But no, yeah, I'm excited, very excited. So that was the last little talking point question I had for you, Chris. Kiefer, do you have anything else you wanted to add?
Not really at this time. I'm just waiting till the track's announced so I can come back and put more pink streak lobbies up, get back to testing. I do enjoy making setups on here still. I like tinkering. It's
fun.
I enjoy the tinkering because that's what I do in my real car. Me and Dad were always messing with something, like trying something, and now we're getting back to where we're standard or back to our standards, so we won't be as exotic with our setups. But like on iRacing, there's things I like to try and theories I like to run by my head, and I still do some of my old school stuff that I've always done, even back in my Ryko days. And there's stuff that I still do that I got when I was on VLR, and there's stuff that I do that Bocus showed me, and there's stuff like, and I try to combine it all, and I run it through my head, and I build stuff now for me, and I enjoy just the tinkering part of it, and I'm excited for the fling. I haven't missed one yet, knock on wood.
Yep.
Since you started.
Since I've started, and I've attempted.
And that's cool. It's cool to bring, to be able to come back and do that and support it because you know how big it is too.
Yeah. I do, and and that's what I was telling my girlfriend. I was like, man, like even if you could just make it, like just making it's $250. Like I could make money on iRacing. Like,
it's so crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, Howard announced the purse before we even had all the sponsors locked down. So I was like, good job, brother. 18,000. Man, where's this other 5 going to come from? And he's like,
what?
I don't know. He's like, oh. And I'm like, yeah.
Selena 52.
Yeah, we're going to have to.
How about Howard always coming in clutch with a little screw up?
I wish he would. I wish he'd get in the comments, but he don't believe in that stuff. He just.
I had one last
socially
question.
Awkward.
One last question. I was gonna ask you this. It's a continuation from the last time we had you on, right? The last time we had you on was before the. I really feel like it was before the fling. It might have been before the frenzy. I think it was before the frenzy. So I just want to know. Since then, I'm sure you don't remember what your answer is. I don't remember what your answer was. Do you think that late models are closer to real life now than they have been, or are we moving in the right direction?
I think when I helped them on the build before the big one when was it, last June or 2 Junes ago?
Last June.
No, it was last June.
Last June. The refresh.
That big one, that one was the closest.
Even with the exaggerated tire wear.
Yep. Remember how hard they would bottom out in the corner?
Yes.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That was and remember how you could drive when it was tacky, you could drive the piss out of it. In my opinion, that was the closest. A lot of people that had advantages didn't like it because then it to me on the tacky it evened up the field a lot, brought it a lot closer.
Yeah. There wasn't a skill gap really. You just held it to the floor.
Oh, and I'm not saying
to have a really good race car.
You had to have a good car, which is more realistic, and the tire wear was a little exaggerated. I think they could have nerfed it just a little bit, and it would have been a lot closer. But the characteristics, I remember when the cars would bottom out, and it was like when you bottom out in real life, you're going to shove to the wall.
Yes.
And that was exciting. And
it's really exciting whenever you do it from the pole at Fort Royal.
Yeah, I know.
Race. I'll tell you that.
Imagine doing it in real life. I did it there like 4 laps in a row. It wasn't no fun. That's when Davenport passed me with 6 to go and took away my only Lucas win that I could have won at Port Royal. But
Damn.
that's neither here nor there. But you know, I don't know. That's when I really think it was the closest. And honestly, I was an alpha tester then, and I still am. I haven't had time. And I talked to Hudson about it, and I'm like, man, this winter I really want to get on and grind and help them where I can, and have some fun with that. It's like
Was he
I'm
receptive
here.
to that?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I can still log in it now and help, but they know I'm here to help. Like I'm not here to take nothing away from this. I want to help make the game as close to real life as possible. And
Because it can benefit you if it is.
it can, and not only that, but just love dirt track racing.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
It's the love of it as well.
And the intensity is like what you want.
Yeah,
Because like
exactly.
whenever you hop, like when I was down, like that's probably what I'll talk about for a little bit. But like when I was down at East Bay, like man, you're balls to the wall. Like there is no ifs, ands, or buts when you're racing with the top level guys, like Lucas Oil, those guys. Like it's all you got. End story. There's nothing left. And like whenever that build we were having there, when the track was getting an intermediate, like I thought the racetrack was really good because there's points where you could just rip it, and then there was times where you had to run the bottom. You had to be super smart with it, but it was still kind of comparable with the top. You just had to hit it right, like you just had to be technical, and then you could slide. Like I thought it was really good too then, and halfway through the Pro Series they started changing it. I just didn't like it as much personally.
Same here.
But before that, like I struggled. Yeah, I was off the pace.
I think everybody did because it was so different.
Yes,
that's what it was.
And then once ever I kind of got it figured out, like for Port Royal and stuff, we qualified up front together, and that's whenever things started clicking. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. But it was the intensity that I loved about it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Even though I didn't have a lot of success on that iteration of the build, it was definitely. I would say if I could put myself in a real car, I feel like that would be what I would be doing. Like what I was doing in the car on that build would be pretty close, but obviously I can't say for sure. But yeah, that's the last question that I had for you, Chris. What about you, Keith? Nothing else?
Nothing else now before I quit. I'll quit myself from rambling on for too long.
Well, Chris, we appreciate you so much for coming on again, and of course, thanks for all you do for the sim racing community, and of course, having me on the team and supplying me with the setups. I appreciate you a ton, man.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely, man. We'll see you around. All right. Well, that was kind of flashing again. That's great. Oh, man. Yeah, that was Chris Ferguson. Always a blast to have him on. Man, dude, an hour and a half so far into this one.
That's why I had to quit. I had to shut up.
You got to yapping, bro. Nah, you're good though. So there really isn't much else to talk about. We kind of covered everything that's coming up in the sim racing world. I'd say we've got I don't know if you saw the money race that Colton's putting up. Colton Herbert's got like a team money race going. I've got me and the CSS guys are going to try to run that at Supers at Williams Grove. I believe that's sometime next week. But of course, got the fling. We're going to the World 100 next month. I'm sure we'll have a podcast before then to really talk about how excited I am.
Figure out if I'm gonna go to that or not.
Yeah, you better. I hope to see you there. But what do you have planned? You said no racing this weekend, but hopefully next weekend.
I doubt it next weekend. It'll be the weekend after that.
Oh yeah. That's right. The week
22nd or the 23rd, something like that.
What track is that at?
Probably in southern Missouri or somewhere in Missouri. I'll probably race somewhere close. Like Callaway, where I won last year. Something like that, preferably before we go to the big races. Just to get a 900, make sure the motor runs and
shake the car down, as they say.
Make sure the drive shaft don't hit something, or make sure just stuff like that. Make sure nothing's bound up, and make sure everything flows, or even just go to test it somewhere if they had an open test practice or something like that. But no, other than that, man, just trying to keep busy with work and keep everybody happy.
Hell yeah, man. Well, if that's all you got, That's all that I got. That it?
That is it.
All right. You want to send us off with a front flip?
I will. Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I also only have
I
one
guess
side.
one. Oh, okay. All right. Wow. That view whenever them feet were up was a little, maybe a little against terms of service.
Kind of. I would sort that.
The fit check, man. OOTD, you know what I mean? Look at the fucking shorts, crack me up. The fucking shorts. All right, here we go. The flip. That was pretty good. Oh. I like that. Oh man. Hey, I like
the little backflip.
I like the little bit of extra there at the end, you know? Hey, in honor of the Olympics, you know, we've got to give a rating for the flip and then the style points at the end. I'll give it a 7 for the flip itself, and then we'll add about 2 for the style points at the end. So I'm going to hold up a solid we're going to hold up a solid 9.
That's backwards.
No, it wasn't.
Oh,
It's backwards for you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But yeah, all right. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's episode of the Plum Wild podcast. Thanks again to Easton Hunter over at Dirt Demons Graphics for sponsoring this episode. For myself and Damian Kiefer, thank you all for being patient with us. It's been a long time since our last episode, but thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see you right back here in the next one.